So it looks like Sony has chosen death. A lot of gamers are very, very angry with them after the announcement that they were going to end physical media for games. Beginning in January of 2028, there will no longer be PlayStation discs. Everything is going to be digital. And this is a huge problem. A lot of people having a huge issue with this. And now they've gone radio silent. They've gone radio silence. They're not posting on Twitter. This is coming from Push Square. Sony abandoned social media for 24 hours plus after controversially killing physical games. And usually they post a couple of times a day, and they haven't posted anything since dropping the bombshell that they were going to drop physical games. And they've been roasted to hell and back, even by people in the industry. But their stocks are doing good, I guess, because, they're not going to have overhead. They're not going to have to manufacture and ship anything. But there are a lot of issues going on. Push Square has been definitely coping pretty hard here with it. I mean, it would suck to have a PlayStation blog, and I'm not throwing shade at them. I want to be very clear. Like, I'm not throwing shade at Push Square at all. I think they're actually a really good site. But it would suck to depend on Sony for your livelihood, or in whole or in part at this point, because PlayStation, the brand, has never been lower in the eyes of gamers. And this is a few days before Xbox is going to do a bunch of layoffs. So the big two, I mean, again, Nintendo has always been kind of an outlier. They're kind of their own thing. But Xbox and PlayStation, we could see the end of them conceivably within the next year or two, because I think gamers are done. They're done with all of this bullshit where you don't own your games, all this bullshit where they could revoke your access to your own stuff that you supposedly paid for, but not really. So, again, buying is an ownership, then piracy isn't stealing. You know what I'm saying, right? I'm not encouraging anyone to do that, but I think more and more people are going to do that. Me, myself, I'm just going to play indie games and go back to consoles, like retro consoles. Like I'm out, man. I'm done. I'm not, I think a lot of people are done. This is bullshit. I'm too old for this shit. I'm too old to shell out thousands of dollars in games only to not own them outright. That's idiotic. So we'll talk about this and all this drama now. God, this is crazy. We've got several stories. Again, Push Square is a very good site, but it would suck to be to have to break all this bad news all the time. We've got this one, reaction. PlayStation's reputation is at rock bottom. Where do we go from here? We've got PS5 disc drives limited to 1 per order. Sony acknowledges high demand. This is just the bad news just keeps on coming. It keeps on coming. Reactions throughout the industry. They burn through the last remaining goodwill of its fans. The PlayStation 6 is probably going to be at least $1,000, if not more, at launch, and it's not going to have a disk drive. So we'll talk about all this. They're getting community noted, by the way. This is a thing that's happening right now. Pirate Nation has that they got community noted about the end of physical media. It's crazy. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, if you'd like more Clownfish TV, go out to more.clownfishtv.com. This is the best way to support us. We do not do super chats and all that jazz on this channel. I feel like I'm like tap dancing for pennies in a hat. So I don't really do that. Don't do that over here. But if you'd like to support us, you can join monthly. It's like $5 currently. Might have to raise it here a little bit as we get more content up, but for now it's $5. So check it out. And also, if you'd like to never miss an episode, go out to Spotify, go out to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and subscribe over there, because YouTube does not show you all of our videos. But if you'd like access to all of our videos, go out and subscribe to the audio version. So thank you very much for that. I guess it doesn't give you access to the videos, but you can listen to us. You really don't have to watch us. Anyway, this was the tweet that signaled the death of PlayStation. Yesterday, important updates, news on physical discs for new games, and news on the PlayStation Store on PS3 and PS Vita. They're shutting those down. What we got? 112 million views on this, and most of the reactions have been very, very negative. Very negative. And now they've gotten community noted too. According to Pirate Nation, the PlayStation post about the end of physical media has been community noted. It also received nearly 70,000 replies with people extremely mad about it. This could be one of the PlayStation's biggest backlash in recent years. It probably is the single biggest F up in the history of Sony PlayStation. This is not good. I mean, they've also stopped posting since announcing the change. Digital purchases grant a revocable license to access content, not ownership. Sony recently removed hundreds of purchased Studio Canal movies from libraries due to licensing. Yes, this is very important. And this is why I've been talking more about stop killing games, because this is exactly what we're talking about, but on a much, much bigger scale than I thought we would see this quickly. Where basically, you can't trust these companies to have these games online forever. That's why you need a physical copy, because they could decide at any point in time, we don't want to have this game available anymore. And we don't care if you spent $70 on the game and another, $700 on DLC and whatever, in-app purchases, in-game purchases, whatever. We don't care. The game is no longer available. F you, player. You're a pay pig. Buy the next game that comes out. What is the purpose of a PlayStation 6? It's like at this point, the PS6 and the Xbox are basically, just like I said before, they're budget cut gaming PCs. That's what they are, right? Because you're not playing physical media. Because a lot of people tried to fight with me, and they're like, well, the reason that the people buy PlayStations now, it's because it's so easy to just plug and play, and then you just put your disc and you can own your stuff. And not anymore. Not anymore, man. But yeah, they just yanked 500 plus movies off of PlayStation. It didn't matter if you bought those movies or not. You're not getting your money back. You basically were leasing them for as long as the company felt like having them online. They're going to do the exact same thing with their games. The exact same thing. And Sony is not Valve. So, they could at any point in time just decide, hey, we don't want to have these games online anymore. In Brazil, speaking of Pirate Nation, apparently this Brazilian lawmaker, Erica Hilton, she's taking a stand against Sony's end of disc announcement, sending the issue to Brazil's Consumer Protection Agency and calling for Sony to be investigated. Hilton says people pay extra for PlayStation consoles with disc drives, so moving away from physical games raises consumer rights concerns. What they're going to say, I'm telling you right now, what they're going to say is, the PlayStation 5 has been out for 6 years now, and it's at the end of its life cycle. We have a PS6 coming out, and it will be without a physical drive, right? She also wants game publishers to be clear about digital ownership, so players know exactly what they own when they buy a digital game. I think that is true, and if they actually spelled it out for you that you don't own your games, it's not gonna go well for them. But yeah, they haven't responded on social media. This is kind of insane. They said over on YouTube, no trailers have been uploaded for 24 hours. And the last Blue Sky update was on Tuesday. A Guitar Man video went out in the early hours of this morning on Facebook, but there's been nothing since. Now, it could be that they're taking off for the 4th of July, maybe. Maybe, because it is on a weekend, but I'm thinking they're hiding. This is also coming from Push Square. PS5 disc drives limited to 1 per order. Sony acknowledges high demand. Yeah, everybody wants a disc drive now. All of a sudden, they want to start buying those physical games up, but you can't access them. That's the thing. It's like you don't really own the game, because most games you still have to connect to the internet to be able to play. Don't you fucking hate that? I fucking hate that. I think it's stupid. I think you should. I think the internet should be optional. If you want to update because you want to update, it should be optional. They should ship a complete game. If you want DLC, that's fine. If you want to play online with your friends, that's fine. But they do this license check bullshit, and Nintendo's doing that now too. They're doing the license check. It's like, this is the dumbest shit. They don't want you owning your games outright. They don't want you lending your games. They don't want you reselling your games. That's what this is all about, maximizing profit. Eventually, your gaming console, like I said, is going to be like a cable box. You're going to hook it up to the TV, And you're going to pay them every month like $50 to $100 a month for access to games that may or may not stay online. You'll probably have to buy the game too. It'll probably be like, oh, okay, so for like $50 a month, and then, oh, you want to buy that game? Okay, that's $60 to $100, and you have access to it for as long as we feel like giving you access to it. How is that a good deal? That's not a very good deal. They said, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. They said Sony is limiting sales of PS5's optional disk drive accessory to one per person on its PS Direct store, citing high demand. With the platform holder's decision to cease manufacturing game discs in January of 2028, it's possible scalpers may have sensed an opportunity here. If that's the case, I suppose it's good to see the company react quickly. It's hard to ignore the irony in a week where it's effectively signaled the death of physical games. Sony's optional disk drive add-ons compatible with PS5 Slim, the Pro consoles, and the company has not commented whether the PS6 will support as well. I don't think it's going to. I don't think they're going to support any disk drives. They don't want you owning your games. The same thing is going to happen with Xbox. The reason that there's talk that they're going to have this disc to digital thing is they're not going to have a disk drive on the Helix, if it even comes out. At this point, I'm not even convinced there's going to be another Xbox console, because Microsoft is subsidizing Xbox, and would they be dumb enough at this point with the RAM prices to be like, yeah, let's announce another console. It's going to start at $1,500 a month, and nobody's going to be able to effing afford it, and nobody's going to buy it because it doesn't have a disk drive, and you're not going to own your games. I mean, that's like, again, running headfirst into the wood chipper that both of these companies are. And at some point, one or both will realize, you know what? Video games aren't profitable enough. They're not profitable enough. We don't want to do video games anymore. It's just not. It's not profitable for us. So this is again another Push Square article. This is crazy. This is reaction. PlayStation's burned through the last remaining goodwill of its fans. They say on paper PlayStation's stronger than ever, and that's what happens. These companies get cocky because they're like, "Oh, we're number one." So then they start doing bullshit, making bullshit decisions, thinking that the customers are always going to be there. It said the division is posting record profits, releasing annual Game of the Year contenders, and is all but snuffed out its nearest rival, Xbox. And yet, again, this is coming from the guy who runs Push Square. Is it Sammy? And yet, I've been writing about the world of Sony for almost 2 decades now, and I don't think I've seen fan enthusiasm in a worse place since the beginning of the PS3. Yeah, PS3 was ass. But it wasn't this much ass. It was a little ass. This is a big fat ass. And it's not the good kind of big fat ass either. It's run out of political capital these past few years, and today's confirmation that it will cease manufacturing physical games in 2028 is the lowest point yet. Looking at the data, I can understand why it's coming to this conclusion. The industry has been increasingly trending digitally for the better part of a decade now, peaking at 85% in the previous quarter. But the data only gives us a portion of the picture. Sony's most engaged, loyal enthusiasts love physical media. So I'm not surprised to see a whopping 62% of our readers say they'll buy fewer PlayStation games as a result of the news today. Players appreciate ownership. They love the ability to be able to share and resell their games. Shuhei Yoshida is infamous. How to share your games on PS4 video may be over 13 years old at this point, but it taps into a sentiment that hasn't gone away. Now, the industry has been heading in this direction with blank Blu-rays reduced retail runs, but I thought Sony, with its notoriously global audience, would be the last to give up on discs. Yeah, so this is what's weird about it, is Sony is actually making discs for other companies now. Disney has given up on disc. Disney's not manufacturing their own discs anymore. What few titles they release on Blu-ray, as I understand it, are being released by Sony, and I have to wonder how long that's going to last. Because, and it's just the juxtaposition is so damn weird that we know Gen Z and Gen Alpha especially are really big into physical media, and these companies are going in the opposite direction. Again, it's about printing profit. If you don't have to manufacture and ship stuff, if it's all digital, you're basically monetizing air at that point. It's because you have one download, people just keep downloading, they're just printing money. And it's again, what do you own? If you had a guarantee that these games would be online forever, that's fine. If you could somehow download that game and keep a file separate from having to check into the PlayStation Network, that'd be fine. I think Wii games, I think the from the old Wii store, if I remember correctly, like once you download them onto your machine, they were yours. I mean, you could update them if you wanted to, the WiiWare. And I'm pretty sure my old Wii, I'd have to check it, but I've got like a ton of WiiWare games on it and retro games and stuff. And I'm thinking they probably still work. I don't know. I haven't plugged the Wii in for like 5 years. I have no idea. But that's what they need to do. They need to be playable. But most of these games are not playable. They want to do license checks and all this stupid shit. And it's a problem. We allowed this. We as consumers allowed this to happen. I mean, it is partly our fault because this is, we facilitated this. We're like, fine, I want to play the game. I'll shell out the $70 for the thing I have. I'm leasing my game or whatever. I don't know how the PS6 is going to do. I don't know how I don't know if there's going to be another Xbox. And I know I dunk on Nintendo all the time because I like Nintendo. I just don't like their business practices. But at this point, half a game on a cartridge is better than no cartridge. But they're eventually, I can almost guarantee you, whenever a Switch 3 comes out, if a Switch 3 comes out, they'll get rid of the cartridges as well, because they're gonna be like, why are we manufacturing this stuff? It doesn't make any sense. So this is probably why the CEO of GameStop is trying so hard to buy eBay, because he's like, what are we gonna sell? More Funko Pops? We're not gonna have any used games to sell. It said Nintendo's been forced to compromise with its game key cards, which haven't exactly enthused Switch owners, although they look like a better solution. Yeah, it's the same here. At least it's something. At least it's half-assed. It's half-assed instead of full-ass. It said Sony, for all its faults, has been delivering full games on disc, even if it even offered a relatively affordable disc drive upgrade for the PS5 Pro. Today's announcement has understandably angered and agitated an increasingly irate fan base. Then I'm not surprised to see many air their disgust online. Our comments section represents a fraction of the anger. The PlayStation blog is a tidal wave of boiling frustration. Over 4,500 comments at the time of writing. Did they lock that down? 4,500 comments? Oh my God, 7,000 comments now? Do not like this. Disappointing news. Terrible news. We own nothing. It was always going to happen. Sad times about every new generation PlayStation that's released. Looks like PS6 is where it ends for me. Horrible decision. What can you expect from this company at this point? I'm not happy about this one. Leads more to the not owning side. Not sure where this information is coming from. I like my media in physical format. This person says you will own nothing and be happy seems to be less and less like a conspiracy theory. No, that's what they want. They want you renting everything, leasing everything. Given Sony has taken away media purchased in digital format, including games, physical media access is what keeps them from doing that, more or less. The convenience of digital should not be the grounds to dismiss physical media, but we know what this is about. Control. I'm dipping out of PlayStation. I'm done. Everybody's saying they're done. I hate this. Just wondering, is this now a season April Fool's joke? Yeah, well, there's your market research, Sony. Good luck with that. You have chosen death. You've chosen poorly. This is a piss poor decision. A terrible decision. So we'll see what happens. I don't really care. I'm not buying another PlayStation. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.